I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The reason I would ask remain standing is, as most of you know, and if anyone doesn't, town resident Charles Perkins passed away this past week, and I would just like to take a moment of silence on Charlie's behalf. He did a lot of work with the town, and he'll be sorely missed. Thank you. The first 6 items on the agenda are acceptance of minutes. And there are a number of sets of minutes where only one member of the present board was on the board at the time these minutes were recorded. We had dealt with this before where we only had 2 members out of 5. And I believe at the time we voted to accept them in draft form only. We had so this time there was only one, and I could not recall the exact how we came to do just a draft. So a quick call to town council, to my surprise. We can accept the minutes in draft or formal form, even though only one member. There is no real law per se that you even have to. The law states that you have to have minutes and what you have to put in them and what has to be recorded and so forth. But as far as a board, voting on to accept minutes, apparently in New England, like town meeting and a lot of things, it's more tradition than law. So what I thought might be a problem with the minutes is not. So we should be able to do the minutes, and we should be okay. We don't have any real problems. The first one's the minutes of March 11th, 2013.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes for March 11th, 2013 as written.
All right, a motion made by Selectman Farrell to accept the minutes of March 11, 2013. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Selectman Robinson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And I'll abstain. I wasn't even in the country. The next minutes are March 18th, 2013. I'll entertain a motion to accept these minutes.
So moved.
A motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Robinson. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All set. The next set of minutes, March 25th, 2013. Is there a motion to accept these minutes?
So moved.
I will second that motion. So a motion is made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Bennett. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next set of minutes, the minutes state April 18th. The agenda says April 8th. I looked at the selectmen's schedule for 2013. The selectmen met on April 8th, so the date needs to be corrected to the 8th. Other than that, that was the only, that was the one thing that stood out to me. Is there a motion to accept these minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell. Is there a second?
Oh, sorry.
Seconded by Selectman Robinson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item, the minutes of August 5th, 2013.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of August 5th, 2013.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Morrison. Any further discussion on the motion?
This is the amount, incorrect?
Yeah.
Incorrect amount on the grant relief.
The first item on the FEMA grant financial relief for the blizzard of 2013. The minutes state $2,713. I believe it was $27,000.
Yeah, but that's the, I think that's the refund from the Veterans Agent.
Yeah. So I'll
Any
move.
further items? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. Motion carries. The next item, the minutes of August 12th, 2013.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from August 12th, 2013.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Morrison. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed it on your, tonight's agenda, you just have a bunch of items listed. Are you gonna allow time for old business?
Old business is not on the agenda.
You're not gonna allow?
It's not on the agenda.
You're not gonna allow for old business?
There's no old, no, it's not listed, so no, it will not be discussed. The next item on the agenda is discuss the Worcester County Selectmen's Association.
This was, this
Go
was
ahead.
put in all of the selectmen's folders. There's the Worcester County Selectmen's Association. There are different selectmen's associations by county. And Franklin County has a very strong selectmen's association. Worcester County had a very active association, and it fell by the wayside. And there's a group of people who are trying to re-energize that group. So there is power in numbers. So I think it's a worthwhile thing to become part of.
There is a $50 annual fee, no matter how many selectmen in your town go. It states there's one vote per town and one board member per town will vote. Alternates can vote if the member is unable to be there. Said all selectmen are able and welcome to participate in the association functions, events, meetings. If you're interested, there is a form to fill out. You get to meet other selectmen, talk with other towns, discuss similar items that may come up in your town, that came up in their town, how they handled it. Selectmen from Worcester County, we could move together on any big issues and go, question the state as an association, sort of like the Mass Municipal Association versus a single town selectmen going to the state and asking questions and trying to get answers, which sometimes is difficult. If a large group goes, maybe they could bring more pressure on state reps and state senators to help solve a lot of the issues that there are out there. So it's like the Mass Municipal Association. I think it's just a good thing. You get to meet other selectmen, other towns, and you can collaborate on items. and the flow of information, I think would benefit the town of Templeton.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Associations are real good. They're great sounding boards. You get a lot of good ideas, and it only $50 a year for the entire board to be able to participate. It's a really good investment.
So I would entertain a motion to vote on joining the Worcester County Selectmen's Association. We go to the Mass Municipal Association. There's a breakfast coming up. There's all kinds of meetings and stuff. We go out there, we collaborate with associations and governments throughout the state, and I think it would be good to collaborate in our county. If nothing further, entertain a motion for the town to join and become a member, active member in this association.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Morrison. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes, the motion carried.
Okay. The next meeting that they have is in Sterling on September 19th.
Who's going to be the voting member when we fill this out?
Good question. Does anybody want to volunteer or nominate someone?
Do we have any indication whether their meetings are going to be during the day or in the evening?
They're at night.
They're at night, okay.
Yeah, it's in Sterling at the town hall. It starts at 6 with the social hour, and then the business meeting begins at 7.
Oh,
So, is that something you think you could get to from Leominster?
yeah, actually, that would be,
All right.
yeah,
All
5
right.
minutes away, yeah.
Yeah. So I will nominate Ken Robinson to be the voting member from the town of Templeton to the Worcester County Selectmen's Association.
Second.
Do we want to propose an alternate?
Sure.
I can make that meeting.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
I know I can make that one, so I'm willing to be an alternate.
Yeah, I'll be out of town on the 19th. So I would make a motion we nominate Julie as the alternate.
Second?
All right. So the first motion we have before the board is to vote for Ken for the voting member. Right. All right. No further discussion on that motion. Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, the next motion before us is for Selectman Julie Farrell to be the alternate for the Worcester County Selectmen's Association. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. The next item on the agenda is the Historical Society. During the craft fair, I was in I went in the Historical Society and did a tour, and I talked with Alan and Brian, and they approached me that there have been a few other towns that have done this type of show. It's an old fire engine show, like antique fire trucks, old fire trucks come in and they basically line up and you get to walk around the trucks. And they were interested in putting one of these on in the next couple of months, among other things to generate interest in the Historical Society, see if they can get more people interested in helping out to keep it going. So I told them I would look into that, and I put it on the agenda. I had spoke with the chief of police. He did not have any issues with it. I spoke to Alan Mayo of Cemetery, and as Alan usually does, he said that he would work with them to make it happen. I didn't get to talk with the fire chief. There's one possibility that the number of trucks that would come, don't know off the top of my head how many would come, but if there was an overflow or something, if they could park in front of the fire station. The day and time is yet to be determined. It's mainly to generate interest in the Historical Society, but they are old fire trucks. Maybe you get a bang out of looking at them. I
won't get a no from me.
I just thought I'd put it on the agenda. We can vote to give, to let the Narragansett Historical Society, that, yes, they can do this, and the Board of Selectmen support them in their efforts. Alan?
I followed up after speaking with the chairman this morning. I talked with Harry Aldrich. He said that he's not really running the event. He suggested I talk to Brian Tangway, who is running the event.
Okay.
I tried to make contact with him. I was unsuccessful. However, what I learned from Harry Aldrich this morning was that it's not necessarily just old fire engines. There are many different types of old engines and steam engines that they used to use for manufacturing and stuff that they will be on display. So it's an addition to. And I will probably be able to touch with Brian Tangway tomorrow and see exactly what they want to do. But as I said, I will definitely work with them. I think it's great. It would be good for the youth of the town to get some education on some of these old pieces of equipment, so I think it's good.
Where do they plan to hold it? I mean, right in front of the Historical Society?
Yeah, they wanted to park them there, depending on the number. When I spoke with Harry and Brian, they had said, you know, the old fire engine shows, old engine shows, stuff, and I guess some surrounding towns have done it, and it's done very good.
But do we have enough room right there? That's I guess what I'm getting at.
Well, that's
It may be
the
counterproductive
number
and not have
of-
enough room to offer because you have people need a place to park to actually go.
The number of trucks and, you know, where they were gonna have it. Brian, they just wanted the okay, because they didn't really know who they should
Yeah.
talk with. Did we
No,
talk to the
sounds
chief of
good.
police? Did we talk to cemetery? Did we talk to you guys? They wanted to basically get the okay and have the support before, you know, going further. They don't want to tell everybody, yeah, we're gonna have it, and then go, no, we can't park here, no, we can't do this. So, so they decided, you know, they were just looking for, and I put it on the agenda, so just to get some support from the selectmen, that we could hear from people. Like I said, talk to the chief of police, talk with Alan, and I did not get to speak to you, Ray, but I just thought it was a good thing. And, you know, how big it's gonna be, they don't know. Maybe it could be a regular annual event. Maybe it would get bigger. You know, you don't know if you don't try. But it'd be a good education, and it would generate interest in the Historical Society and the things that are in there. You know, just history of the town and so forth in general, which is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I've been to the one, so,
That's all right.
yeah, Westminster has done one for a few years, and I've been to that one. It's a really excellent event, you know, some of the school groups, they sell, you know, hot dogs and things, you know, from the stands, so it helps just the whole community as well as building the awareness for the Historical Society.
So, yeah, and if it's something that could take off, who knows, maybe could grow into something big. You never know if you don't try. If you don't take that first step, you don't ever get anywhere. So I would entertain a motion to send a letter of official support to the Historical Society. And the chief of police and Allen's is here, the fire chief is here, so they know. So we could I'd just like to send them an official show of support from the selectmen, from the town, that we'd not only like to have that, but we'd encourage it to be done.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Morrison. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. The next item on the agenda is a poll hearing at 7:15, so I want to skip and move to cover a couple other things. Would be a discussion on the trust fund. This is the letter from LeBlanc and Sands, attorneys at law. It's a letter we received in the Selectman's office. It's actually addresses the Narragansett Regional High School School Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and a Narragansett Regional High School principal. It's from Henry Sands. It's dated August 9th, 2013, and it's a trust under the will of Stanley J. I'm going to blow this, but Nishaka. Thank you. And it briefly states he's an attorney for TD Bank North, who is a trustee for the will of Stanley. Stanley passed away in 1995. He was allowed by the Worcester County Probate Court. He established a trust for the benefit of the Narragansett Regional High School Library. And now, apparently, the cost and time and money to administer the trust, and it's, I guess by bank standards, it's a small amount. And it states it's uneconomical for TD Bank to continue to serve as the trustee. The trustee wishes to terminate the trust and pay the funds to the Community Foundation of North Central Mass to administer the trust pursuant to the terms of the current trust and pursuant to the enclosed designated fund contribution agreement. And it had within this letter the official contract of moving the trust over and how much it was for, and I think it started out like $100 and something thousand, and it's down below six figures. Basically, TD wants to hand it off to this trust so they can administer it. Before we really, I don't know, before we want to sign off on this, we should probably arrange a talk with the Narragansett School Committee and the designated trust, and to make sure that this is good for the library, it's good for the trust itself, to make sure that it's not going to get thrown in some big pot and get eaten up by, and therefore negate the will of Stanley. Just the devil's in the details. And that's my thoughts on it. Any other member of the board have any suggestions or ideas, or?
I would just suggest that we may want to have town council look at it briefly just to make sure, and then maybe the school committee would like to do the same, have their attorney look at it just to make sure that the purpose will not be confounded by the transfer.
I would, yes, probably communicate with the school committee to see if, because if they got a letter, hopefully they looked at it, and if it benefits the town, but it benefits the school library. So hopefully they would have looked into it, but. I just think we should get some clarification and make sure that it's going to fit with Stanley's wants, and if it does, then I guess we could come back and execute it, because it's not going to go anywhere. This TD Bank wants to get rid of it soon, but it's not certainly something that we have to do this second.
I mean, I would agree that meeting with the school committee is a good idea. It's to their benefit, so.
Yeah, forward the information to them. This also brings up another issue about the trusts that we have and the different amounts and the purposes. That some trusts were established a very, very long time ago, and the purpose for which they were established is no longer relevant. So it's hard to administer it, and then there are people who could use the money from some of those trusts, and we can't use it. So I think it's an issue that maybe we should look at on the town side as well.
Perhaps we could direct the town coordinator to contact the school committee and just ask, have they taken this up, looked at it? and see where they are, and then we could contact the Community Foundation and look into that and see what they're all about, and take this up, revisit this in a couple of weeks at our next meeting, if that's agreeable. So, will you follow up on that?
Yep.
All right. So, it takes care of that. We have time. One item that should go quickly is, we had a meeting where an open meeting law complaint came up. We discussed it. We had a vote to send a letter to answer that. But as far as the official record, that's all we have. By putting this on the agenda and talking about it, we'll get it, I think it was suggested by the town council to
Actually vote this into the record. It's not in the record yet. You voted that the letter be created and sent. You haven't voted on the letter. So it's just tying up a loose end and put the letter on record as part of the town record in the minutes.
So, if anybody doesn't have any objections, I'd entertain a motion to enter that into the minutes of tonight's meeting.
I will make a motion to enter the letter regarding the open meeting law complaint dated August 7th, 2013, into the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell and seconded by Selectman Morrison. Any further discussion? Hearing
Yes.
none.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Could you repeat the motion, because I couldn't, with the air conditioner, I couldn't hear it all.
I made a motion to submit the letter regarding the open meeting law complaint dated August 7th, 2013, into the minutes.
Up tonight.
Tonight,
Thank you.
yeah.
All right. No further discussion. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. We have 15 minutes. I think we have enough time. For this one. The next item I'd like to discuss is sending a letter to the Department of Revenue concerning enterprise funds. I know this past winter, this came up several times. Some questions came up during it, such as, I believe the water, the enterprise was removed from the town books. Some question as to, is the water department and enterprise fund, is it covered under which law? Some would say it's chapter 164. If you read chapter 164, it says the sale and manufacture of electricity and water. It has no, the sale and manufacture of electricity and gas. It has no mention of water. Enterprise funds are chapter 44, section 53 and a half. I know there was an attempt to have a bylaw so it would go to the Attorney General and get done for free. So for the heck of it, I sent an email to our Division of Local Services Representative Deb Wagner, and I asked the question about the acts, Chapter 93 Acts of 2000, the control of Templeton water to the Light Department, which is covered under 164. The Acts of 2000, they mentioned the water would be maintained as an enterprise fund, and the wording is significantly similar to Chapter 53 and a half. So, Ms. Wagner, I got an email forwarded to me. Ms. Wagner asked her, apparently her immediate supervisor, how do you wish me to proceed? And that was a Mr. Dennis Mountain. Apparently Mr. Mountain emailed Gerald Perry, and he is the Deputy Assistant for Division of Local Services. He responded, have Mr. Bennett contact me directly at his phone number and I will resolve his issues. To which I responded that I consider this an important issue, that I would like it in writing and not over the phone, because when you talk over the phone, oh, you misunderstood, oh, I didn't mean that word, I have nothing in writing. To which I got an answer from Mr. Gerald Perry. Various emails have been forwarded to my attention from you, Jeffrey Bennett, regarding the Templeton Light Department as it relates to water issues. You have requested items in writing involving our opinion under Chapter 93 Acts of 2000. Please be advised that no formal written legal opinion has been prepared by this office at this time. So I don't know how they came to the conclusion that the water should be removed and it's not an enterprise fund or anything like that. It says, continues, however, if a majority of the Templeton Board of Selectmen vote to request such an opinion from our office, we would review the matter and act accordingly. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. So, my thought was to send them a letter from the Board of Selectmen to formally ask, as Mr. Perry requests, and also submit the same letter with the same questions to the Attorney General's office. Now, whether we will get an answer, whether they will act like sometimes state agencies do and just hem and haw and not answer us, I don't know. But if we do not ask, we will never know. And this is something that I believe should be looked at and answered once and for all. And again, it would take away, if it's finally answered, it would take away that one thing that, whether you agree with, don't agree, right or wrong, whatever, it would take away one of those contentious issues of the town. It's why I took the initiative to ask, as an individual, can you answer this question? Department of Revenue, state agency. And what I got was, there is no formal legal opinion. And for a legal opinion to be formal, it has to be in writing, and for it to be a formal opinion to a town, it has to be on file at the town clerk's office. And then everyone can go see it. Everyone can read it. And perhaps we would know how it ended up off the books, how and why it's not or it is considered an enterprise fund, and who requested this to happen. I don't know if state agency just acts on their own and says, oh, you know what, we'll just take this off Templeton books. No. So it's just a couple of questions, and we could possibly get rid of a thorny issue. Not to mention, is it an enterprise fund or not? That's an important thing, I think, that needs to be answered once and for all. So,
I just want to explain to everybody that by on the books, it means up until 2008, the water enterprise was included on the recap sheet. In 2009 and forward, it has not been included on the recap sheet. I was never given an explanation from either Scott Sawyer or Deb Wagner, and I'm really concerned that we paid auditors to look at this stuff every year. I understand the water was taken under light back in 2000. To me, if it was going to disappear off of the recap sheet or be dropped from the recap sheet, it would have been back then, not continued on for 8 more years.
I'll call you back.
And my office needs the answer to this question because, and we're paying auditors every year. Why didn't the auditors ever question this?
It's another one of those good questions. So, Again, what I was looking to see if the board was willing to do is to send a formal letter of request to the Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services, perhaps, you know, to Mr. Perry, the General Counsel. I would also like to include the same letter to the Attorney General's office. Perhaps get someone's attention and get an answer once and for all to several questions. And you know, we get the answers, then okay, that's the answers, and we can go from there. But it's a pretty important issue, I believe, for the town as a whole, and how it affects us financially. And I think it should be asked and answered. Again, you know, maybe we'll get a slow, longer-winded response that really isn't a response anyway, but then we would have something on paper to possibly proceed forward if we so decided. So,
I was just gonna say that, you know, I would agree. I mean, this issue is just gonna keep coming back year after year after year. At least from my point of view, it doesn't really matter to me which way it gets answered, just as long as it gets answered. And if we don't, you know, ask it, like you said, then we're never gonna know. So I would definitely support doing it to the DOR and the Attorney General.
I think this issue is important enough. I've brought it forward as a citizen petition and as a selectman. I think we need clarity as far as if the water department is treated as an enterprise, if it's on town books or not, where is the legal opinion and what supports it, and why did it happen in 2009? And this was enacted in 2000. So I think these are important questions that, as a community, we need those answers to.
and I would just close in saying that I believe that this would end one of these many I don't know, discussions that we have around town meeting time. Okay, we have arguments, okay, and fights. And
we'll go with discussion.
maybe this would eliminate that, from being such a contentious issue once and for all. We may not all like the answer, but at least it'll get answered, and we can go from there. So, seeing no further discussion, yes.
I agree. I think we need to get an answer, but is there any anticipated cost?
Of writing a letter?
No,
Requesting their opinion.
They're the ones going to do create the legal opinion and send to us. Where did they base their decision on? You know, what general law, what case law, what legal opinion, and apparently they didn't have one to base it on. So we're just gonna, it's basically us, it'll cost money for the stamp and stuff, but I mean, no big expense, just to, no, we're not, as of right now, it's not a lawyer issue on our side, just, we're gonna ask the questions and see what they come up with. So, hearing no further discussion on the motion.
We have a motion, okay.
We have a motion on the floor and it's been seconded. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. And the motion carries.
Mr. Bennett, now that the motion is carried, I'd like to say something on behalf of myself, the town coordinator, who's a hired professional from outside the town, and the town accountant, Fred Aponte, who's a hired professional from outside the town. I will mimic what was said before. We don't care. We want an answer. We need an answer to run this town properly, shipshape, and according to law. We have no axe to grind on this issue, and we do not care what the answer is as long as it is final, finished, and the hatchet is buried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
We got 5 minutes.
7:15.
We could start. The snow pond thing is going to take more than 5 minutes. We could start on. You want to start?
I'm a fence.
We could work on appointments. We could do the appointments.
Okay.
Well, and some of the committees though, just in case somebody may have. Yeah, we can do the appointments then, maybe we can take a couple minutes.
It's actually 7.
Yeah. I have 7:12.
I got 7:15.
Why don't you ask Mr. Berry what time it
I
is?
can't say.
Is it 7:15 yet?
Somewhere.
It's 7:15 somewhere, it's not on that clock. First of all the members look, do you have any problem with any committees? No issues with no committees? Yeah, too many of them, but oh well. So if we have no issues with individuals, we have, let's see, outside of selectmen, we have John Brooks for the Templeton Common Improvement Committee. We have Fred Henshaw, Community Preservation. Bethany Loveless on Templeton Emergency Planning Committee. We have Will Spring on the Narragansett School District School Budget Subcommittee. We're dying to see him. And we have Mr. Ritter on Community Development Action Committee, Templeton Development Center Committee, and the Stormwater Committee as an ex officio. The rest
I volunteer for them.
You didn't.
you volunteered for that, just like I volunteered for the.
Remember, you volunteered.
Sometimes if you're not around, your name gets on the list. The rest are selectmen committees, and of course we're trustees for the various trusts. That probably eventually sometime they should probably get looked at, because some of them are so small, and I don't even know if there's much we can even do about them. The money that it would take to change them is probably more than what these trusts are paying.
I will make a motion to approve the appointments as submitted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Virginia has a question.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
You may have already done it anyway, but if I could make a suggestion that if you get one of the selectmen to get onto the budget subcommittee at the school also, because that's what I was on, and then, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just so that you're aware, the advisory board has talked about this budget subcommittee, and since there is more than one member from Phillipston advisory board, we will be appointing some additional members.
Very good.
And there also is several members of their board of selectmen on it too.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion and a second before us. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. And the motion carries. And now we got about a minute or so till Mr. Berry is up.
Go up there and read us.
Switch these forms, he's gonna do it from there.
So on that, all we have is this.
Comments?
Comments.
That was pretty bad.
Thank you.
Was that you in the ambulance Friday evening? I don't know, 5, 6-ish or so? Yep. Okay. I thought I was heading to Gardner to get a bite to eat, and I said, he was coming towards Templeton. That looks like the chief working on Friday night.
Yeah.
Making money for the town. Hopefully nothing serious. I mean, it's good the ambulance run, but I don't like it at the expense of somebody's seriously hurt or anything. Yeah, I thought it was you.
Yeah.
Just a white guy in a white shirt. Gotta be him. That's why I pay the big bucks and work Friday nights. All right. Clock on the wall says 7:15. Mr. Berry, poll hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the poll hearing.
Second? No discussion on that?
Yeah, second.
Okay. All right, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. All right. Mr. Berry. You want to explain what is going to be entailed, the wheres and the whats?
Yes, the pole in question is it's a pole across from it's TMLP's pole 104, Verizon number 4. It's on Patriots Road. It's right adjacent to the parking lot of the First Church. Right now, there's a guy that goes from that pole to a tree across the street. We just like to set a pole there. We try to get the anchors out of trees, get them into poles with an anchor in the ground.
Is there a scheduled estimate of when the work would happen? I mean, it's not really going to affect much, will it?
No, just after it's approved, we're actually working in that area anyway. You've seen that we've set a bunch of poles, and just a matter of doing dig safe, 4 or 5 days.
General thing.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Are there any abutters on this? They've been contacted, right?
Yes. I think it's in this list. Is there anyone, one on the tree where the cable is, are you just going to cut the cable, or is the tree going to have to come down? Or?
No. Yeah, we'll take it out of the tree and we'll swing it over to the pole and attach it to the pole.
Okay, I know sometimes, they've been put in for X number of years and the tree grows around and stuff. But,
If we do have to cut it, it won't hurt the tree.
any more than it's already. So, is there any further comment from anyone in the audience? This would just be benefiting the tree and one less cable going across the road.
There's going to be a tree here.
Be more correct. No comments? No questions?
I will make a motion to allow the Templeton Municipal Light and Verizon Communications to install a pole and anchor to be numbered Templeton Municipal Light Plant number 104, S Verizon number 4 on Patriots Road, as described on the map.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Farrell, seconded by Selectman Robinson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion to close the poll hearing.
Second. Any discussion on that one? Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. All right. You should have one that maybe everyone is here for. The next thing for discussion, actually I think it's the last thing, is to discuss snow plowing for the high school. The town of Templeton has been plowing out the schools in Narragansett for the sum. I think it started at 25 and it's up to 27 now. That's a very generous amount to plow out the schools, sand them and sweep up the sand and stuff. I put this on here to discuss, to talk about, because communication and doing things at the last minute reacting instead of being proactive. I thought considering, and I placed this on the agenda last week, Monday or Tuesday. The agenda was posted by the close of business on Thursday. This was before the town meeting vote on Thursday night. But having that vote turn out the way it did, depending on what happens next, the school committee's got to certify that new number. They have to get it to us, and then we have to look at the options and the ways to proceed. And you know, you're looking at an override, 20% straight across the board cut to the town budget, a combination of those, and the real wild option is do nothing and run the town till you run out of money and close the doors in, I don't know, April or something, and see you July 1st. None of those options, I mean, that's the last of the last. I mean, nothing else can happen, and that's what you do. The other three, I know, you know, they're not popular, they'll be painful, they'll be difficult, but I don't think you'd want to tell the school, oh, by the way, we only got 2 highway department guys working, we only got this much sand, salt, and we ain't, you know, we ain't gonna get to you till we know, who knows when. You don't want to tell them you're stuck without having your school plowed out at the last minute. Again, this goes back to communication and actually thinking about things and trying to plan one way or another, because I can't predict now, I don't know if anybody else can, how this budget thing will work out and where we'll be a few months from now. So I just thought it was prudent that we discuss it and perhaps inform the school committee, the district, that they may want to be looking, you know, expect this, maybe look at some alternatives. I don't know if the town of Templeton has been plowing it out. Maybe since the town of Phillipston is part of the district, they could come up and help out and plow after the storm or whatever. It's just, it saves you from dumping it in their lap at the last minute. I mean, everybody says, oh, we've been doing it, and if you make them go out to bid and the cost is increased, you're going to end up paying more, you know, anyways. Yes, but not this year, because we don't know right now how much money we're going to be working with, how many people we're going to be working with. I also, when I was researching, going through the minutes for the MSBA stuff, this has actually been brought up before. It was brought up at a selectmen's meeting, May 5th in 2010. And this is out of the official minutes books. It's on page 359. For May 5th, 2010. They were talking about the school district budget with Ruth Miller, coincidental, for the fiscal 11 budget. And the last thing was Mrs. Miller had offered to pay the town more for plowing. I don't know if that was ever pursued. There's, you know, as happens a lot of times, things get brought up and suggestions and things start, and then something else blows up and things go by the wayside. Another thing, back on October 27th, 2009, and this is on page 278 of the official books, out of the minutes, discussed snow plowing for the school. Dennis O'Brien, he would like to see the school go out and bid for the cost of snow plowing the school parking lots. He stated he feels the town is being shortchanged. The town receives as I said, $25,000. I believe it's been $27,000 for plowing by the highway department. They've been doing this for a number of years, and it says the board will send a letter to Dr. Weiss requesting the school procure a cost for snow plowing. I could not find whether this was done or not, what the figure was, and if there was a figure, what was the result. Again, I just think that we should, for a couple of reasons, let the school know that, you know, I mean, be aware that the arrangement has been in effect for a number of years, but this year, we can't say for sure, you know, what's gonna be, and it's the end of August. September's coming. We've had snow fly in October before. It's, you know, it's not a threat, it's not a payback, it's just, you should be aware that this is a possibility. And at least have a plan or an idea in place to deal with this issue. Who knows, an override may pass and you may have funding and we don't have to do a 20% cut and everybody will be there. Maybe we'll have a light winter. I hope not. But we may have a bad winter, we may do 20% cuts. There may be 3 or 4 guys plowing and they have to do the roads first. So I just think it's a thing that we should plan for and give the school committee a heads up that you should plan for this too. I don't see anything wrong with letting somebody know that, you know what, the agreement that's been in place may not work this year. And again, maybe they can get a hold of Phillipston, maybe the 2 towns together with Templeton Short could still do it. I just think we should communicate that to them, talk to them, and maybe an informal meet with a couple school committee, the superintendent, the town coordinator, or selectman. I don't know, but at least kick around a couple of ideas and come up with an alternative plan instead of waiting till the last dang minute and go, hold on, well, I don't know what we're going to do. You know, we got 3 trucks plowing the roads at Templeton. Don't plan on school for a couple of days, I guess. I just don't think that's a smart thing to do. Yes?
One issue that I do want to point out, it was before we make any decision, you said it's what, about 27,000 now they pay?
I believe that's what.
So we have.
20, it's still 25?
Okay. Oh, and I didn't see Mr. Chase back there, maybe he can answer. I know that we have guys on the highway department that's more than what their salary is for the year, so my concern would be that if we ultimately don't make cuts to highway, and then we, it would be nice to know, I guess before we make a decision, how much of that is raw materials, so gas and salt, and how much is actually paid in salary, because the school does pay us $25,000 a winter to do that. So if by not having that $25,000 of income coming in to pay, to help contribute to pay towards some of those salaries, I just don't know if there would be any impact on, and who knows, maybe we spend 30 grand on salt and it actually funds none of the workers, I don't know, but I think that would be something that before we just make a decision to cut, we realize that we're not cutting outside contracting, we're cutting our own town employees.
I'm pretty sure you do have, I don't know if you have it off the top of your head, but the information that he's talking about, the labor cost, the fuel, the materials, not only for plowing and putting it down, but for sweeping it up in the summer.
Yeah, I can't give you the exact numbers tonight. I'd have to go back into our logs to look to see how much time we spent, but I'm going to just give you my opinion, regardless of which way it goes. My opinion is that currently we're plowing and we sweep it up in the summertime. In my opinion, it doesn't cost $25,000 a year for us to do that. Some years ago, they went out to bid and their numbers came in for a private contractor to come in, and it was crazy high. Now, if the town went that way and sent it back to the school and you're on your own, you got to plow, you got to hire your own contractor, they get the money from the town. So they're going to have a line item in there higher than $25,000 to maintain their winter operations. This is just my opinion, long term. However it goes, approximately on pretty much any given storm, unless it's a real heavy storm, we can go in there and we plow the complete facility under 2 hours, 2 hours or less, depending. If it's that extra storm, well, it might take us 2.5 hours. We treat the parking lots. Anytime that we go out on a sanding operation to sand the roads, of course the parking lots will be slippery. So we treat them with sand and salt. It's a 3-to-1 mix. It's not a straight salt mix. And then come springtime, we do clean the place up, and it takes us approximately an 8-hour day. My full crew down there, because we give it a little extra. We sweep the lawns off. We kind of do a little extra and clean it up real nicely. So that's just my opinion for whatever it's worth. My opinion, it would be to keep it the way it is. I think it's the cheapest way out of it, out of the town.
Again.
If I have the manpower.
Yes.
That's the key thing, if I have the manpower. If I'm cut down because of what happened, then we need to look at something different.
Again, this is for this year, and I'm not saying that we don't do it. I just believe that we should inform the school. You might want to consider that we may be able to do it, but we may not be able to do it, and you can plan accordingly for this year. Now, you know, after things go and, you know, you get to May and you appropriate the budget, you know, things may work out and we could go back to it if in fact we don't do it. I just think it's prudent to be prepared for us not being able to do it, and so should they. Like I said, I think we should inform them of this, and, you know, have a plan B. It just, it's, again, it's not definite, because we don't know, you know, we got a special town meeting to do, and there could be an override question, there could just be budget cuts, combination, whichever way we go. If the highway department, if there's 20% across the board cuts, the highway department's gonna lose a couple guys, whatever, you're gonna be down people, we're gonna, you know, fuel account.